Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay! Welcome to FMLFPL Milan.
This Walsh.
Wasn't a clean O.
Yeah, your eyes did something very unusual.
Oh, really? I have no control of my body when the OKs happen. I don't know if people know this. I just dial it into my brain and it just goes like, oh.
How are you doing?
I'm on a fucking
You're
edge,
wired
bro.
tonight. We got a good one tonight.
I got a sugar-free Red Bull up my ass right now.
Oh my god. Have you been edging for a while?
Yeah, I've been edging for a long time, and this pod is me blowing my load. I mean, I'm so undercooked. I'm just raw at this point. I'm just fucking tartar. My mom happened to have her birthday on this day, and it is what it is.
Yeah. She wanted to celebrate our pod by having her day of birth coinciding with us.
Exactly.
That was very nice of her.
Very nice. Very considerate. Yeah. Good job by her. Shout out to
Big
Mom.
one today. Big budget action today.
Oh my God. Budget assets you know what I like about our pod strikers? Like, it just gets more and more perverse. It's the graph. It's the perversity over time graph. It's just like the premium pod is like, these are the guys we should get. We should all have a bunch of these guys. Like, we're going to captain these guys. Mid-price, it's like, this guy. And then this pod is just like, dude.
Yeah. Well, the end of this
What
pod
can we
is
do?
me sitting here with $6 million in the bank.
Yeah,
like, I'm ready to win FPL
It's
now.
like, why would I have Holland when I could have fucking Morris, who's 5'5"? Like, it makes no sense.
Oh my God.
I did want to shout out your fireside with LR, which I thought was really good. Came out last week. If people missed it, definitely check it out. That was really good. A lot of notes there. More firesides to come. A lot more action to come. Just fucking follow our shit. I can't even go through it right now.
Yeah. It's always nice to catch up with LR and just chat general nonsense with him. It was very pleasant to converse with him, and I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Yeah, it was really fun to do for sure.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people missed it because it came out so late in the week. But definitely go back and check that out.
Yeah.
So keepers, dude.
Oh boy. Back to front. Here we go. 2
Let
hours
me start with,
ready.
Are you nailed on 4-5 or under in keeper department at this point?
I haven't for literally 1 second had anything more than a 4-5 and a 4-0 at goalkeeper.
I'm the exact same.
Okay.
And some people are even starting to talk about 4-0 possibilities.
Yeah, well, I mean the Matt Turner speculation. Matt Turner overdrive. The Matt Turner overdrive. There's the band name right there. If he goes to 4, forget it. All bets are off. Inject it. Just inject it fucking everywhere into my body.
Disaster.
He's so good. That aside, that hasn't happened. Probably won't happen.
A
lot of 4-5 action. What have you been, in and around?
I can't really see past Flecking.
The Fleckening.
Yeah, I've been flecking really hard. The only period of time when I didn't fleck was when people were like, wait, Raya's actually not going to get sold. This is a disaster. And I was like, oh God, I have to actually choose a keeper now. But it seems like Raya is just so fucked off that they would do anything to sell him right now. Bayern are throwing their hat in the ring. I don't know. Who knows? Saudi Arabia is always in the picture. Who the fuck knows? But I just feel like Brentham are the absolute perfect team to have a 4-5 on. And that, frankly, shouldn't have a 4-5. That's why Raya's 5-0 and had the most points in the league in the game last season. They allow shots, not good ones. They're solid team who keep cleans. They're just good. And I've never seen this guy's play in my life, but he's supposed to be good. And he'll get a lot of the same sort of passing bonus and that kind of stuff with Raya. They're not going to play a different way. So it just seems so obvious to me. I haven't felt the need to even experiment, really. What about you?
Well, I felt that way for a little while. for you saying I haven't seen him play, that's a difference between you and I. Because
Well,
I have been watching. I know, but I'm just saying I have been watching their highlights from their preseason games, and he looks like the worst player on the pitch by a lot.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So he's not on my team anymore. I mean, he just looks like he's all sorts, all at sea, like positionally, like things are happening in and around him.
Didn't I quote? Wasn't that him that I had the quote from like Keese, the Dutch Man United guy who was like, he's the worst Dutch keeper with his feet I've ever seen in my life, I think was this like direct quote. And we were both kind of like, come on, like Brentham's not going to buy someone who can't play with their feet. Okay, that's bad news.
I don't know, but I keep trying to, sit with, Brentham or do a big time regression. I just kind of...
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of a little bit off them. And I don't trust the Fleckening. And I feel like they do have like an aging squad. And I don't know. I'm not sure. They're very much a blind spot for me. They sort of took over Leicester's mantle for me, I think, with my analysis and evaluation of the team. But I'm off Flecken. I know they have good early fixtures. I'm back on Johnstone.
Yeah. That's a post-mortem shot by you, by the way.
Yeah,
like you were like, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Guaita looks like he's not even with the squad. Maybe he's already transitioned into like player coach mode or something. I mean, it's clear that Roy likes him. He played some incredible blinders at the end of last season. We also have pretty decent opening fixtures. I mean, we get to play Sheffield United first, even though it's away, and that'll be a raucous crowd. It's hard to see how Sheffield United score a goal against any team in the Premier League. And we also are sort of built... Look, our spine is insane. Like Guaita, Anderson, Lerma, and Doucouré is as good of a center of the park defensively as any non-top 4 team in the division, as far as I'm concerned, as long as nobody moves.
You Freudian slipped Guaita in there, which is some people's concern.
What did I say? Guaita?
You say Guaita, not Johnstone or Gahey. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Guaita, though. He's lurking. He's lurking. Guaita.
Same deal. So, and, our defenders every year under Roy, or really just in general, are so fucking bad at bonus points because that's what's up with our style. Yeah. Yep. So Johnstone's a good shout for bonus points. Like he got some bonus points, I think, in games where we conceded last year too. And he makes a lot of saves. So I like Johnstone, and I do like having Palace players. It's more fun for me. So I'm on him. I also am starting to look at Steele also more seriously.
What about Bart though?
Well, it seems like it sounds like from what Deserves is talking about that he's going to be sort of eased in. I mean, this isn't some senior goalkeeper who's been playing for 4 seasons and he was like some huge, insane buy like, straight in. It sounds like he's going to need a fight to take the shirt back from Steele, not that he was bought to just supplant him immediately.
That's how I interpreted the buy. I mean, I know he's really young, but other teams were in on him, and he chose Brighton, and it Steele's just average at best, in my opinion. And I saw this guy in person, and I was just like blown away. I mean, Brighton he started the game I went to, and he was just, their passing and their build up and from the back is just unbelievable, and he just fit right in. Like he was just pinging them around all over the place. It was just like Newcastle was trying to press. It was just a joke, just playing right through him. I was like, this is, and he made some big saves too. It's like, this is just their best keeper. Yeah.
And that might happen, but from what I've been kind of seeing, it sounds like Steele's going to start the beginning of the season. He might not last long. I agree with you. I think Steele is average. I think maybe I have him a little bit higher estimation than you do. I've generally liked him when I've watched him play. He's not going to be, they obviously saw the position and they wanted to upgrade, but it was also one of those where, maybe he became available, who knows, but ultimately they have the first 3 good fixtures. I mean, there is one where you could maybe think of steal and target. If it's early wild card, it's an early wild card. And, maybe he's part of that, where you look at those first few to try and target them. I think he's definitely worthy of consideration, though. And then the other one I was looking at was Pickford.
He's highly owned. He's the highest in the 4-5 bracket, because I'm not really including Areola, because I don't know, we'll get there, but he's 13.7% on highest in the bracket. Voldy said, Everton defense, is it bait or is it value? I mean,
it's both.
It is both, because if you're expecting them to be good, that's bait. I still think they're a bad team, and they're going to be at the bottom of the table.
Yeah. That said, this isn't. Go ahead.
No, I mean, that said, he's going to get saves. It's 4-5. He's going to get bones. He's going to get some cleans, especially at home. I mean, I looked at their numbers a bit. Away from Goodison, they were 18th in non-penalty XG allowed, and at home, they were a 10th. It was a wide margin. It's like 0.8 of an XG difference between the two. And they have some homes. This is kind of more for their defenders, in my opinion, because I'm not a big rotate the keepers kind of guy. But, you can rotate and just play them at home perfectly fine. Home Fulham game week 1, home Wolves game week 3, home Luton game week 7, home Bournemouth game week 8. Like, those are just bankers. And just not play them in the aways and not play them home Arsenal, and I think you'll profit pretty well there. But Pickford, even in the bad games, we've seen him get like double-digit saves and do crazy shit sometimes. So I don't think he's bad. The bottom line is, like, I don't think some of these guys, I guess I do think are bad, but most of them, I'm just like, yeah, they're fine. They're good. Like, they're 4-5 keeper. They're gonna not get as many points as Allison, but they're fine.
Yeah. I guess it depends also how much of a risk do you want to take. Like, Pickford's so safe, I think, just because, we're talking about Steele, he might not start. John Stone, while he does seem safe, Guaita still is employed by the club.
He's on the team.
And, lost his place more due to injury than playing badly, even though he's 40. You could see, Fabianski, Areola, I don't know. I guess if you have him, you have both. It doesn't really matter. Neto, they just bought a new keeper. Leno, they're kind of shit. Flecken is, mentioned an interesting one too, but the names do dry up pretty quickly. So it's not like there are 9 choices here. It feels like it's more like 4-ish.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because when you look at guys like, and I like Neto, but like you look at Bournemouth, you look at Fulham, Luton, NFO, Sheffield, whatever, like these are just bad teams who are going to keep very few cleans, most likely. Yeah. And that's why, like, I immediately went to Flecken, because I'm like, they're a solid defense, and they didn't really overperform. They're just good, and like they're just going to keep double-digit cleans, and in the other games you get saves and bones, right? And that's, I think someone like Steele or Bart out of this group probably has the highest upside, because Brighton are the best team in this group.
Yeah, I agree.
But having the the minutes issue might be an issue.
And it's hard, because we're thinking of these players as in totality. We are looking at the first 8-ish game weeks, right? It's not too common that we hold our wild card past really like 8. So,
Yeah, someone did mention that actually after our last episode. I think it was FPL Cawthon, just about like some of our debates. He mentioned Jesus versus Ollie, but I think it could apply to anyone. But he's like, I agree with you guys over the course of the season, but like we never play over the course of the season. Yeah, he's like, in the short term, this fixture. It's like, I want this guy, and I'm like, it makes sense.
Makes sense. It does.
I think it's part of. We're doing this as like an exercise, right? We're not saying that like this guy's definitely better for game weeks 1 through 6. We're just talking about it as a whole, almost.
Yeah, I think when you listen through this, because we do this with different lenses, you try and extract, in between the lines, sort of. But yeah, we do talk about the players more in a season long, just of like what we think of them more than specifically for game week 1, this pick is better than this pick when this is the rest of your team. We might say something differently in that case.
Right.
So yeah, Johnstone, I'm feeling like fairly settled on. I don't see much happening between now and kickoff for me to change that. I like him. I like the pick. I like him a lot this year.
Under Roy last season, I know it wasn't a ton of games, but I found this great site where I can like customize a lot of the like team per 90 stuff underlying. And so I looked at even game
site?
state. It's like a table. It's a long link, macro-football.shiny app, blah blah blah. So I'll put it in the show notes or whatever.
Okay.
But I looked at even or winning game states because we don't give a shit once they're losing how a team defends, and, for clean sheet purposes. Under Roy, and Palace was second best in the league non-penalty XG conceded when winning or even game state, which I was just like, holy fuck,
Yeah, I mean, that tracks. Just thinking back, we will keep, if Roy doesn't, pass away during the course of the season due to old age, we will keep double-digit cleans this year, in the 10 to 12 range. I would bet money on that. Based on who we have and how we play and how we're going to set up.
You guys kept 9 last year, in which
I know
it was a disaster for 2/3 of the season or more under Vieira. So, I'm totally with you there.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just jump to Palace defenders because I think there's a lot of interest there. And
defenders is 4-5 and under, right?
4-5 and under, yeah.
Oh, I just wanted one thing before we go to that, because I wanted to get your take on something. I don't know if we've ever really talked about it. People, seem to really like when the 4-5 and the backup is 4-0 on the same team. Do you give a shit about that? Does that factor into your decision for goalkeeper at all with the 4-5 goalkeepers?
I think it's nice. It's like give the baby their binky. It's like you want something to suck on when you go to sleep at night. Like, who doesn't? You know what I mean? But it also just doesn't fucking matter. Honestly, in 10 years plus of playing this game, I don't know if it's ever fucking mattered. Like, maybe one time you get like an auto sub because someone says a late scratch. But for the most part, it doesn't matter. If I'm between 2 4-5 keepers, and one I think is slightly better, but his backup's 4-5, and the other is slightly worse, but his backup's 4. I'm taking the better one. I don't care.
Yeah, it's not swaying you anyway, which way.
No, but it's nice and cuddly. It's nice and cuddly.
So you would rather just eliminate that from the factors in your processing rather than even have it there.
Yeah, I think between all the guys that we just mentioned, none of their backups are 4-0. So I think that I'll probably just have Areola unless something else bubbles up that there's some other 4-0 starter. Like, it'll probably be one of those guys, 4-5, and then Areola backup.
Yeah,
I think that's just what I'll have.
31% owned.
We didn't talk about it.
Yeah, we should. Let's go back to that.
Yeah, I forgot.
It's July 31st.
What's the deal? Yeah, what's the deal?
I don't know where all the helium was coming from that it's his team now. He seems like it won't be. I don't know. 31%, 44.0 backup.
So high.
It's scary. The drop, the price drop situation is right.
That's not ideal. Yeah.
We do have Remy Matthews has been on the bench for us with, he's 4-0, with Guaita, wherever the fuck he is. That's something, but I don't know. This is kind of probably premature talking about it now. We still have a couple more weeks. And
Flappy's played more minutes.
Yeah, he's been
just straight up played more minutes.
Yeah, he's been playing with the first team shit too, I think, and he just seems to be, I don't know. So, I don't know.
It's so funny to assume that someone like Moyes is gonna change and adapt to anything ever. He's gonna start his guys forever until he goes away. But they have one more friendly. It looks like it's Saturday, and then a week until their first game. And so, that you'd expect a first choice lineup. That's usually what teams do in the lead up is 45 minutes of the first 11, 45 minutes of backups or whatever. So
give or take one or two if there's some fitness. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but even then, Areola starts that game. We don't have any definitive soundbite from Moyes. What do? What are you going to go 8-0 and just start him? That's insane. Isn't that insane? That's like wildcard game week 2 insane.
Yeah, I think it's insane if there's not another 4-0.
Yeah.
You know, if there's him and Turner, I would probably do that.
That's easy.
I would do that.
Yeah, that is that's a literal no-brainer. If Turner goes to NFO, that's 1,000,000%.
Yeah,
will be my pair.
Just Areola. Yeah, I mean, I just would not feel safe at all. I also can't really imagine the team that's like, my team is so good except for this 0.5 in midfield, or my team is so good except for this 0.5 in forward. It's like, I feel like that team just doesn't exist this year.
Yeah, I feel you. All right, so let's switch over. We'll transition to defenders. So, I mean, we're just doing 4-5 and 4-0, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So how do you want to approach this? Because it looks like, we have
There's
probably about
so many in the game.
Yeah, we probably have like 6 or 7 teams with 4 or 5 defenders that we should probably run through.
Yeah, so just team by team real quick, I guess.
Yeah.
Just try and not take like an hour here.
Or we take an hour and we'll see where we go.
And then
buckle in.
Check us out.
Should we just do it alphabetically?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go Villa. Yeah.
I mean, Villa's tough because they, similar to, I think, Brighton, right, are really good. It's really hard to tell who's going to be playing in the league with them because they have so many good options. Do you have a read here?
I mean, I spoke with a Twitter friend who's a big villain. I mean, she said, we have 2 more friendlies. The last one versus Valencia. I expect to see the side that starts against Newcastle. So, there's still friendlies to go. She thinks Pau is like in there though. And I fucking love Pau.
I have Pau on my team right now.
Yeah, I've had him in. He's been like a constant in my team.
I love that. All right, let's go. Let's pretend it's Fantasy World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Easy. Where he was like 6-0 starting for Spain.
5, yes, yeah.
So, I mean, I just love him, and he's left-footed, and he's so good in build-up, and he's so good in possession, which they really need badly. That was like all of their mistakes last year happened in, playing out from the back and then getting pressed, blah, blah, and he's just a god, and he's just going to, revolutionize, I really think, their build-up. So I'm really excited about Pau, and I'm hoping that he does start with the first team so I can like confidently keep him. But I don't know. There's all this chatter of other stuff. I mean, there's like Cash might not be nailed if he wants to play like a center back there and have the left back be the attacker, and which will be Dean until Moreno's fit. Then there's like, can Mings even play on the right? Don't know, but he's also the only good center back in the air until Diego Carlos is fit. Konsa, I don't know, so there's a lot of guys. There's too many guys for 4 spots, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm like, Pau played, I think, left back last game, or it was him, Mings, Konsa, Cash. I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about who's playing and if it's going to be, sort of rotatey. Yeah. Because Mings, is he going to drop Mings when Moreno's back? I mean, we don't know when Moreno might not be back for a while, but
captain. Yeah,
I mean, even still, like if he's going to play Pau, he's going to have to play him at left back, unless he drops Mings or he plays 2 left footers, which, we rarely see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the fear, right? But
yeah.
I mean, the thing with like
so
Mings
good. He's their best
Pau
center back, though.
Is that like they make so much sense as a pairing in my head.
Yeah.
Because
they complement each other well.
They complement each other, their skills.
Except
right?
for the footedness.
Except for the footedness. But it's like, just get the ball to Pau. Let him be the on-the-ball guy. And Mings just go be a fucking psycho.
And kill someone if they get
win every header, which he does. Make every tackle, make every challenge. Pau's good at cleaning up, but he's not like a good front foot defender. So
aggressive run at where the ball's coming into the zone.
Yeah, and I just don't think they're dominant enough to play with like 2 build-up-y guys who aren't good in the air. I think they will concede goals, especially because they're playing with at least 1, if not 2, really attacking fullbacks.
Yeah, I mean, Cash is still interesting to me. I guess he is risky.
I had him for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Like, if Dean's going to play, then you're expecting Konsa at right back and Cash out, because it sounds like he does want to play three of these four center backs at all times, sort of.
Yeah.
When Moreno comes back, like, who knows? I mean, if he's going to be playing a three at the back, maybe he's going to do wing backs with Moreno and Cash at some point. I don't know. Cash is good enough to play wing back, but I still do rate the player. Cash had a disaster year last year, but we saw a lot out of him 2 years ago, and he does just run for days, and there is a lot to like about him. And, while Moreno's out, I feel like Cash is also a pick.
I agree. I think it's a very long time until Powell, I had Cash in my team.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, oh my God, perfect. That's the guy who's 0.52 cheap than what he should be because he had a down year. That's exactly like where I was at. But I don't know. Yeah, we need to see a little bit more. And luckily, they do have the 2 more friendlies. So maybe we'll learn something there about like a pairing or something. But it's a little sketch. I
think they're all a little sketch. I mean, I still don't think Pow is just going to be nailed for the league games.
No.
Which is back to the question of, is this a spot you want to have risk versus like, I need this position in my team to be starting for these weeks that I'm relying on this spot in the first 5-6 game weeks based on who else you have. It's a little bit of a challenge there because it does look like 1 or 2 of these 4 or 5 defenders will emerge as like, wow, these are fantastic FPL picks.
I also think they are like a little bit overrated, to be honest, in terms of like, they're defending. Like, it's good. They're not great or anything like that. And you look at even just the first 5. I mean, at Newcastle, at Liverpool, get fucked. Yeah. Home Everton, home Palace, those are good. And then even at Burnley, I'm like, it's probably not a clean. Like
I'll start the player.
I'll start him. Yeah, I'll start him, but it's probably not a clean.
Yeah, 50-50.
Yeah. I don't know. Here's a question for you. How many fixtures do you like to look at when you're looking at like are you like a next 6 guy or your next 4 guy? Like when you're looking at a player, because I think with a lot of these budget guys, I don't know, 6 is just implanted into all of our minds from like Fantasy Football Scout, like just showing like next 6 or whatever. But with some of these guys, and maybe this is more for like mids and forwards, but like if you're looking at like, oh, they have a good first 6 and they blank the first 3, like they're the fuck out of your team. It's not like you're going to be like, well, I'm holding him for 4, 5, 6. Like they're gone. You're going to be panicking,
Yeah, it depends. With 4 or 5 defenders, I think it's a little bit of a different calculus than just general, like a heuristic. Because you do see that position so relative to the other 4 defenders in your team. So, it really is that to me. But ultimately, between 4 and 8 is kind of what I look at.
That's kind of where I'm at.
You don't really want to be spending transfers on 4 or 5 defenders, and
ideally never.
Yeah, so I do place a very high premium on security of start, which makes me, really nervous about any of these Villa guys because, the way I usually like to build my defense is sort of like a house of cards, not like some fortress of Fort Knox, right? Where
go on.
Well, it's like they rely on each other so much where it's if this goes badly, all of a sudden I'm starting Bayer multiple weeks and like there's no other plan. Like there's no plan.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
This is the rotation, and if it doesn't happen for this spot, I'm fucked, and I'm going to be getting maybe 1 point out of that spot.
Do you think you're going to rotate this year? Rotate defenders?
I'm back and forth because I was playing with the 2 City defense for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And then, I look at this other, rotatey mess. I'm just not sure. I do like Perv. I do like the Gabrielle, like the I'm not sure. Yeah. And I do like Bayer. I mean, he seems like just a really safe guy to have there last on the bench all the time. Will play minutes. So I feel like I will want a wild card into the 4-5s when we have a better idea of who's playing, which defenses look stout, because it does look like there's a lot of choice. Game week 1, when I don't know anything, not sure if that's where I want to be.
Yeah, like Villa might be too risky.
Yeah, it might be, with not a lot of juice to squeeze game week 1, because as you said, other than home Everton game week 2, which could be who knows who plays, you could be very happy not having a Villa player till game week 5. I mean, we might be wildcarded by then. I do place like a little bit extra emphasis, I think, on the early game weeks, because if you get this spot right on your team, that is a check in the column of I might be able to save my wild card.
Yeah.
Versus like, do I want to have this be like the tipping point of like, this is not the biggest fire, but it's like the third best reason of why I need a wild card because I got my 4-5 defender wrong, or my 4-5 defender
is like
wrong.
we talk a lot about flexibility, right? Like, and you and LR talked about it too. And this is a spot where flexibility fucks you. Like 4-5 defenders, right? Like you have a guy drops down to 4-4. You can't get that 5-1 defender that everyone has who's getting all the points. Like, where are you finding that money? You have to fucking do surgery. You have to get rid of your good attackers to find money to trade out one of your bad 4-4s for a 5-1. It's like such a pain in the ass. It's such a nightmare.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we're digressing a little bit here. Let's try and get back on track. So Villa, Bournemouth, I think we can skip. Let's go over to Brentford, the Brenham. So this is basically
the Villa, Brentford, and Brighton podcast.
Yeah, I mean, well, whatever. You know, we're talking.
There's other
FPL.
guys. I'm just saying those are the
main ones.
The main ones.
You know, I mean, it to me looks really it's just Henry or Pinnock, who I think we both will take either over me. We kind of touched on that in the previous pod.
For sure.
Do you have a preference between the fullback and the center back here? Do you have them in your team? Are they like high in your thoughts? What are you looking at here?
I've had them here and there. I mean, Henry's a weird one because he's one of those guys that like he's fast. So we're like, oh, he's fast and like moves the ball into the final third. So like he's an attacker, but like he's not. He's bad at attacking. Like he creates nothing and barely gets chances or does anything. And the only shout, I guess, is like sometimes they play 3 at the back, so he's more wing backy. But I don't know. I think it's all bullshit. I also think the keeper, well, at least this was the case with Rye, will just like boss bones on this team. And so, you know, I don't know. They're good. They're solid. I'll probably have Flecken unless something changes. So I don't know. Am I doubling up? I kind of like diversifying more. I'm not thrilled with any of these guys, but I do think they're good picks. The fixtures are so. I mean,
for cleans.
Yeah, for cleans. Like, let's look. Home Spurs, at Fulham, You like home Palace, home Bournemouth in 3 and 4. Then they're away Newcastle. Then you like home Everton in 6. Like, you really want them if you're doing a rotation or something like
3,
that.
4,
Like, you really want them 3, 4, 6. Yeah.
2 is okay.
2's
3,
okay.
4, 6, yes.
But like away Fulham, I expect them to fucking score. I mean, maybe they want a Mitrovic or something, but
no, Cottage at home. That'll be their first home game of the season. That's going to be a tough clean sheet. I think
that's a tough clean. Yeah, that's a tough clean. I like Collins too. I mean, I know that. Mostly they're actually a young team. I didn't agree with you there, but they are old in center back. Like Me is old. Pinnock is, I think, 30 or something like that.
I mean, I don't know. It's like
I
Jensen,
like Collins,
Jensen, Yanel. Like these guys, I'm just like, ugh. Like,
but
still,
they're not old. They just play old. you know, Yanel's 24. Jensen's 26.
Yeah, like, they seem like they're 35 and 36 they to look me when I watch them.
Yeah, that's how they look.
Yeah, I don't know. He's young too, I guess. I guess I'm off on the age profile for sure. It's just watching them. I feel like maybe it's just that. I feel like there are several positions that they need to upgrade on, and they keep buying these like projects, like attacking projects.
They have a bunch of old bad center backs like Jorgensen and Janssen, and you know Pinnock's fine, but he's 30, and Me's 32. Blah blah blah. But like Collins, I think is a solid purchase. I like him.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see about them. Yeah.
Ayer.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I like Pinnock more than Henry. I agree with you on Henry. Kind of just not such.
He's not
such
an attacker.
Just not so much attacking it. I feel like having the goal threat from Pinnock is better than Henry's assist potential. Definitely a fine game week 1 pick. You know, definitely
absolutely
solid.
Safe. I mean, We'll keep talking about Brenham. They're going to keep coming up in every section, but I find it hard to like not have 3. I mean, I just think they're good and they're all like kind of underpriced. I mean, their price and same with. I mean, we'll come on to Brighton next, but I mean, Brenham and Brighton I think are a little bit different. I mean, I think we're both equally high on Brighton that they're a really good team and they will finish
in and around 7th and 8th place.
Yeah.
I think Brentford, to me, I wouldn't be surprised if they finished 13th this year.
I think the range is like 13th to 8th.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah.
So, but they are priced really kindly, and they do have a lot of good players on their team. So if you get the 8th place return, then they will have many good picks. If you get the 13th place version, you're going to be sitting there holding their players for too long, waiting for them to come good, and they just don't. So it depends on what your kind of view of the team and how quickly you kind of ascertain your views from seeing them play a few games.
12 cleans last year, same as Villa, same as Brighton. Yeah. That seems right to me. Like, that doesn't seem like, oh my God, how did they keep 12 cleans? It's just like, they're solid, so they keep clean sometimes.
At the same time, they have 8 this year. I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think let me see, they had 9 their first year.
Yeah.
Right. Which is, they do, by the way, really good for a newly promoted side. 9 is fucking good. But
because they do the thing where they play open and expansive at home, and they play shut up shop away, which is good from an IRL points perspective on the table. But that's the worst of both worlds, really, just of everything else. The away cleans are so much more fragile and brittle, and the home cleans where you want to bank on it, they're playing open with less defenders and shit. It's like, okay, so
because they're trying to win.
Yeah, they're trying to win points, and that puts them in the best. Whatever. So, but Brighton, they just try and smother, and they aren't a defensive-minded team, but they are a really good defensive team because they smother and are on the front foot and dominate, right? So you were at the Red Bull New Jersey
Arena, watching
them fucking do the Brighton thing, which is play better than the enemy and not win the game.
Yeah, but
what did you say?
I mean, they lost the game once it was all... Because they lost the game once it was all children.
That's their DNA. Were they rate?
Well, they're not going to make 15 subs in the Premier League.
Were they romping them? Were they blowing them out when all the first teamers were playing? Out.
It was a fucking joke of a game. 1-0.
Knife's edge.
But it was destruction. It was great. Edge. I mean, they're just so impressive.
Yeah. So defenders here, we touched.
This is an issue, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the defenders here, right? Who plays? Like, Van Heck's getting a lot of preseason minutes. Like, they spot the fucking Igor. Their right back is a midfielder.
Yeah.
They sold McAllister. They don't have Colwill anymore. They're probably selling fucking Moises. No one has attacking intent. There's no shouts for that. It's like, fuck, I don't know. I genuinely don't know who to get.
Yeah. I mean, I've been playing around in my head with this idea. Van Heck I think he's really bad. Like, whenever I've seen him.
He fucks up all the time.
He's really bad, but I don't know if Igor Julio dos Santos de Paulo is going to just drop in game week 1, start the game.
He's supposed to be good, and he's left-footed. So, like, you could see it over time being him left and dunk, right? But yeah, like you said, is he ready for game week 1?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
And over time might be game week 2, because Van Hecke plays the first game and it's like, wow, he's still as bad as we thought he was.
He gets a red card. He's ineligible for game 2.
Yeah.
So.
Which,
they have one more friendly, right, on Sunday.
Yeah.
So that'll be really interesting. Because Van Heck is kind of bad, yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I still am just broadly nervous about them keeping cleans in any game.
I agree with that. I do think it's a keeper upgrade, based on how little I know about him. I still think that he seems above average to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Colwell low-key started a ton of games for them second half of the season and was really fucking good. And that's why, like, Liverpool's trying to buy him and Chelsea are re-signing him, right? So they are losing that, and then they're losing probably both of their central mids.
But Caicedo's still there playing, isn't he?
He's still there, and he was fucking unreal. Oh my God, he was so good in person. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Chelsea's just going to keep offering more money, right? I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's something else. But, ultimately, it's just, I'm thinking, though, sitting with Van Heck is like, that could be a little cheeky one for game week 1 if, you're okay with an early wild card. Just start him. If he starts, great. If not, you'll probably just get an auto sub, kind of thing as a 4-0 spot.
he's not good. But
He's not good.
I hear you. You. I mean, he might be
perverted. But I mean, ultimately, Purvis being in 51% of teams, I still just can't believe. It's
but
just
it makes sense.
It
makes sense though, because
it makes sense. These first
because
three fixtures
they have no
are just
4 or 5 picks. The fixtures are good. He's only 0.5 more than anyone else 4 or 5 in the game, and he's really attacking. Like I understand it more after trying to figure out, are there any 4 or 5 defenders on this team, and being like, not really. I'm like, yeah, Purvis is right there, you know?
Home Luton is just the worst. Like, if it was home West Ham first, he would probably be in 30% of teams or something.
I loved your shout, by the way, on the LR pod about how much the game week 1 fixture factors into people's game week 1 teams. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
You look at no one has, I don't even know who's a good pick with a bad fixture. Like, no one has whoever that guy is that's away, whatever the fuck, because they just don't like seeing the red thing in their fucking fixture ticker.
Watkins is the prime because he's at Newcastle and he's home Everton at Burnley.
Yeah. Home Everton. If that was reversed, if he was home Everton game week 1, at Burnley game week 2, at Newcastle game week 3, he'd be in
25% more teams.
So many more teams. Everyone's like, oh, Cap Watkins game week 1. You know, it's like it would change everything. But
I'm still just nervous about their clean sheet.
Yeah.
And, with Purvis, because you're still buying like. I'm just nervous about him. Like, because once it hits game week 4, you look at that and you're like, oh no.
Are they startable in any games?
Yeah. I mean, they have a home Bournemouth, which maybe will be okay. Like, we don't really know how they're going to look. But other than that, you're flanked by 2 games in 4 and 5 and 2 games in 7 and 8 where they're not keeping it clean. Newcastle, Man United, Villa, Liverpool. So it's like that. You're just booking a transfer.
Not ideal.
You're just booking a transfer with Purvis, and I don't.
But don't you think it's benchable? I mean, it depends how deep you go with your team. Yeah. But I feel like a 5-0 is actually borderline benchable.
It is, but you have to set up for that. Like, if you have Bayer, then that's not benchable, kind of a thing.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No,
or a 4-0. If you have a 4-0, right? I don't know. I mean, because then I keep looking at him, though, and I think of like, well, Arsenal. You know what I mean? Maybe I do want 2 Arsenal there, even though I don't like love their defense. I fucking love it over Brighton. So that's not close.
But the thing is, I still think, even though you and I both think they're good and blah, 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 everything we already said, I still think we're underrating them. I mean, last year, just second half of the season, I mean, they clean Liverpool, they clean a bunch of other teams. They clean Man United, they clean Arsenal. Second half of the season, they just clean all these teams. They're just as good as them, like playing them off the park in a way.
That's fair. And that might be, I'm still like latent in catching up to that.
Like it, and same, because I still see home Newcastle. I'm like, but like they're better than Newcastle, arguably.
Okay.
Arguably. At home too, especially at home. Like, I think that's startable.
Yeah. Okay. So Brighton's, it does seem though, like any non-perv or dunk pick is very sus.
Very sus. Very sus. What if Caicedo goes this week? Where are you at? Like, how does that adjust your math on Estupinian? Or
there's no way I would have perf game week 1.
There's no chance. It totally fucks the team up, right? It'd be like Alzate and
there's no chance. Yeah,
I don't even know. Yeah.
All right, so I mean, Burnley. I just want to gloss over this guy, but Bayer at 4-0 seems like he's one of their most important players and just a really steady 4-0 guy. I mean, there hasn't really been a 4-0 pick emerging from a non-promoted team.
Yeah.
I mean, Branthwaite, maybe. But otherwise, as of, July 31st, there really isn't much.
Gusto, so if Reese gets hurt.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some guys who are backups who are 4-0s who could step in if someone gets hurt between now and game week 1. But yeah, I mean, I do think Bayer's just like a fine last bench guy if you're going there.
Totally fine. Totally good. I actually just looking at Burnley's numbers, think they're probably good. I mean, they dominated the championship in a way like much greater than a lot of other teams who have been recently promoted. And I'm just looking at the league, like we talked about this in the postmortem, like none of the newly promoted teams last season got relegated. That's rare. But I look at Burnley and I'm just like, I mean, they're probably better than like 5 or 6 of these teams, which is really rare for a team to have a 4-0 defender be newly promoted. But that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, they did lose some really important players back on loan, right? They had McAtee, I think, did a lot. They had Tella. They keep trying to buy from Southampton. That hasn't gotten
huge.
far.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
Tella's
they obviously they got Redmundo, which is, well, we know how Adam Walsh feels about that. I'm very fond of that. But
this is Walsh.
Yeah, this Walsh. They still do have some smooth operators and able bodies that company can throw, and the numbers look good from the flampening and the domination at the flampening. They could stay up. It wouldn't stun me, but from an FPL standpoint, I don't know. I want to just kind of watch and see.
Filling my team with Burnley guys. I'm just saying, 4-0 on this team is a lot different than like a 4-0 on Luton.
Yeah,
who's 18% owned.
Yeah, with you. So Chelsea somehow again have like these 4 or 5 defenders. I mean,
they just have so many players.
Yeah, they have a lot of players. But I mean, the Colwell is the interesting one, right? I mean, Colwell,
Badiashile.
Yeah, he's hurt, isn't he? Or he's okay?
I'm not sure, but they also just signed Disasi, so it's a disaster for him.
Yeah, he'll probably come in at 5. But I mean, Colwell's a pick.
Yeah, he's hurt. Badiashile.
Yeah, Colwell's a pick, right?
Yeah, I mean, he seems. They're really, really, really desperately hanging on to him, which I think says something, right? They're not going to just re-sign this player and then not play him, right?
Yeah.
But what do you expect it to be?
Good.
Just Thiago Silva and Colwell?
Has Thiago Silva played any preseason minutes?
Yeah. He's been starting, and he's still like
fine. Yeah.
Donging. He donged on a corner recently, like.
Yeah, I do think that's going to be the pairing. Looking at the landscape, I don't see another option. Disasi.
It would be Badiashile. I mean, if he gets fit.
He's just worse. I mean, I think he's a good player, but he's just worse than Colwell, I think.
Yeah. So Levy is a pick.
Do you see it differently, or
no? Not really. I mean, I think he's good, but I think it's really hard in general to evaluate defenders, and then even harder when like. What were Chelsea last year? Badiashile could play in a more normal team and look fucking amazing, and I wouldn't be surprised. I think he's good.
I mean, I think it's one of those where you don't want a wild card early. You're looking at your team and you're thinking, if this works, this is someone that I could really rely on heavily from game week 3 onwards and just start every week indefinitely and then reevaluate in a long time. Just start him for a couple months and be good. I mean, this is the type of player, I think if you do go super thin in defense, you have to believe in or like lean into that, okay, this is an auto start. Okay, not Liverpool, but game week 2 on, you're just, Colwell's in from 2 to 8 every game, and I don't have to think about that spot.
Yeah, so they're at West Ham, home Luton, home NFO, at Bournemouth, home Villa, at Fulham, at Burnley. Yeah. It's fucking fantastic. But Disasi is a right-sided center back, so I wonder if he'll come in and just play over Thiago Silva, but that seems weird.
I doubt that. I think it's just more of a coverage. When Thiago Silva breaks, what a backup plan, and it's just like, plummet down the table. Hurt,
Badiashile's hurt.
Yeah. And how many more years does he really have in him, right? I mean, every year it seems like, when is he retiring?
Yeah.
They have to have
still
something.
Really good, though.
Yeah, he is, but Fofana's out. I mean, they will be in more competitions next year, I would imagine, so who knows there. But I mean, Colwell's certainly
he's definitely in the mix.
Also someone that you could transfer in as the season starts. There is risk. He just might not play. He might be, game week 4, perv to Colwell or something. That's fine.
I mean, game week 3, I think it would be where you target, right? Like, you want to see him start against Liverpool. Missing away West Ham is not some sort of disaster for a 4-5 center back. You just, that's fine. And then you might, like you said, you go from like a 5-0 to Colwell in game week 3. You start him for a bunch of games, like really bankers. It's good. Yeah. He's good.
All right, Palace. So, we have the full house of 4-5. It looks to me like it's Gahey or Anderson.
Yeah.
I mean, Anderson's a red card waiting to happen every game. I can't wait for him to not be on our team anymore. I hate him. I hate watching him. I hate that he's on Palace, even though he, pings balls and diags really well. I think he's one of the dirtiest players in the league. I despise him.
Yeah.
For that reason, I would just pick Gahey. I think he's just fitter, not a red card shout. He leaves things on the table a lot in set pieces where he seems to do the thing where he's unmarked and he just like misses the ball. Like he does that shit all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's up to.
Yeah.
But
he's
I feel
certainly
like
not
there is a 4-goal.
He's certainly not a donger.
Not yet, but he's still really young. I feel like there is 4 goals in him. Like he's going to do that. I don't know. I still like.
He's very good. He's really good on baseline bones. And the thing that I'll say about certifiable dongers, which I think come up a lot in this like sort of 4-5 defender section, is that they are not guaranteed to dong in the games when you want them to dong. That is absolutely far from a guarantee. And so like you could be like, I want Pinnock, I want Anderson, like I want all these fucking guys.
Gabriel, I mean any center back who, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, guess who he scored against? Guess who Anderson scored against fucking last year's Man City?
Yeah, his only goal of the year.
His only goal of the year. So get fucked. You're not starting him in that game. Like some of his other like big shot and XG games were like Liverpool and shit. Like you're not starting him in those games. So it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, I think
like it matters more to just have like better on baseline bones, like more reliable, not a red card shout, start every game, sort of.
Yeah,
for these guys.
Yeah, I think it's more that type of thing is more when you're like, okay, I want a defender from this team, right? We talked about Henry versus Pinnock earlier. Who do I prefer? Knowing full well that there's a very low likelihood that they will do the thing in these 4 games in the first 2 months when you start them.
Yeah,
but but I think Palace, we will be a good defensive team. We do have, kind of better aways than homes a little bit at the beginning.
The fixtures aren't great.
Yeah, we do have like home Wolves game week 4, home Fulham game week 6, home NFL game week 8. Really good. All of those are really good.
Though. It's rotation.
It's like unlike Colwill, who you could just start for a while because he's on Chelsea and shit. You need to rotate your Palace defender.
Yeah, you don't want to start them home Arsenal, away Brentford, away Villa, away Man United. You just don't really expect cleans in any of those.
Yeah, and then Everton we sort of touched on a little bit with Pickford, and we talked about their fixtures. But I mean, Tarko's still a good pick, right?
Yeah, good pick. Absolutely good pick. Yep.
Okay.
Start him in the home games, like I said. That's why I looked at that stat. And
Everton definitely, we're not thinking they're going to turn into Burnley or have that one ridiculous season under Dyche, right, where they keep 13 cleans and finish in 7th place. But the home games are always against the bottom 10 are always, clean shouts.
Yep.
So Tarko's safe, and certainly the pick there. And
I don't know who else is starting.
Yeah, I mean, we did briefly mentioning Branthwaite. He was on loan last year, played well.
He's supposed to be good, but he hasn't been playing in friendlies.
Yeah, he hasn't been playing much. I think he had a break or something happened where he was like not.
Oh, maybe it was on. Was he on the under 21?
Yeah,
squad,
I think he was
maybe?
on. I think he was on extra break because he was playing with them, something like that. Yeah, so he got with them late.
Yeah, that's the same thing with like Harvey and Curtis on Liverpool. Like because England won the under 21 shit. So, it was a long tournament for them. Yeah.
Fulham, whatever, Skip, they're a mess.
Skip, yeah,
Luton,
especially without Pauline, Good.
Yeah, I mean, Luton, there's like the Bell guy. They have a bunch of 4-out guys,
Bell.
maybe.
Yeah, another 4-out. The one thing I'll say about Luton, even though everyone who knows a lot more than me says they're going to be the worst team in the league and get relegated, is that I've heard that they are very defensive in that way that you kind of like your defenders to be in FPL. Like they fucking park and they play for a clean, and that's the only way they're ever going to win a game is clean and like nick one on the break.
5-0
Yeah,
formation.
so like, I don't expect them to be good or anything, but those teams can sometimes have sneaky good FPL picks, even, like Sheffield recently and Burnley in the past, and plenty of teams will just like, they just magically got 10 cleans. And it's like, fucking hell.
Yeah. All right, then Newcastle, have Botmania's in there at 4-5, where you at?
24% owned. Yeah, I mean, good pick, but at the same time, don't want to start him in, game weeks 2, 3, or 4.
Or 1, honestly.
I mean, I think 1 is fine.
It's
at
fine,
least home.
but it's not good.
It's not a banker at all, but it's fine. And it's good enough to start. And same with 5. It's not a banker, but it's good enough to start.
Agree.
And then, 6 through 10 is ridiculous and you start them in every game. But I don't know. It's like, I think it's when the game first came out, it was like, how is a top 7 teams nailed on center back 4-5? And I agree with that in theory, but the way that the fixtures have played out and the fact that I'm probably going to be relying on a rotation means like there's not really a rotation where you want this guy to be a part of it. Like I just don't. You don't want your 4th defender to be part of a quote unquote rotation when you don't really want to start him in any of the first 5 that badly.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's
like
very
the more I've
limited
tinkered, he's not in my team.
Yeah, it's very limited to the very opening 4 where it's bad. Yeah. But it is sort of similar to Colwell, I think, where, barring a couple of really rough ones because the timing of it is so bad for Newcastle, he's someone that you could just put in from game week 5 and basically start for
almost every
months,
game for a while. Yeah.
So, it's again one of those where maybe he's a backdoor into, the 4-5 set. When
right.
It's like Colwell starting, Botman, like you could have 3, 4, 5 guys who are in POW or something, and like they have a good run. You're spending nothing in defense and you feel okay, something like that.
Yeah, you find a way to make him not your 4th defender, your 5th defender. Yeah. And then by the time that rolls around and maybe one of your guys is hurt or one of your guys ends up being bad, it's like, boom, now I have this extra bonus starter that no one wants.
Thing I was looking at Botman is just a way of looking at him is if you have him and Bayer on your bench and you have 3 5-0 guys or 3 guys you want to start, or say you have Stones, Purvis, and Gabrielle. Like Botman's a good shield there. Like if Stones doesn't play a game, and then you can reassess later to transfer out like Purvis and then switch them or, he's someone that you don't want to have to rely on early, but someone that you can imagine in your squad in a month, when the first few games are over, like, oh, I'm so glad I have Botman. I don't have to use a transfer there. Put him in. I'm good.
If he comes in, right? He's not getting you -2 points. Like he's just going to get you a point, whatever.
Yeah.
But
like
even
Bayer could or something.
I even look at Burnley and Luton with the 2 4-0s, and like you can start their players in game week 2 and game week 4. More Luton, I think.
They don't even play game week 2.
Oh my god, I forgot about the blank. Holy shit. Oh my god, we didn't even mention the blank because it's that much of a joke this fucking game.
Fuck the blank.
Luton and Burnley blank in game week 2. We can't get away from the shit. Okay, disregard what I said. Holy shit.
Okay. NFO skip. Maybe skip that. Chef U, I mean, they have some 4-0 potentials, but probably not. There's a Baldock. I don't know.
Baldock. The only NFO thing I'll say is that in a rotation, they're actually not that bad because they have home Sheffield United game week 2, home Burnley in game week 5. So you have 2 like great, 2 of the best 5 fixtures in the league, and the other games you just 5th, last on your bench.
If that's what floats your boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Spurs
have a bunch of 4-5s.
Yeah,
we don't. Yeah, fullback situation I still feel like is unknown. Dyer, Romero, both 4-5.
Yeah.
Probably don't really expect their defense to be good.
Yeah. I mean, the Destiny, Udogi, interesting, but game week 1, it feels like you want to run away from their defense. They have all these away games. We don't know what they're up to. Yeah,
3 out of their first 4 away.
Yeah. Western also a little bit tough from a game week 1 standpoint for cleans because they do have a lot of aways, some really rough fixtures.
They really have no banker.
Yeah, they will be serviceable, at some point. Like game week 7, they have Sheffield United, and then they have a pretty long, good run. I mean, these long, good runs, I keep seeing as like, if you can pinpoint the time to jump off and on. You don't have to do it that many times, but you can have these 4 or 5 defenders starting every week for a while.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to it's probably a good practice to like just write these down somewhere.
Yeah.
Because we're going to forget, right? We're going to see like, you look at West Ham's first 6 fixtures, we're going to see them on 1 or 0 cleans and just bad, and we're gonna not consider like Zuma in our team because he kills cats and has 1 clean. But like we should remember, then we need to post a note to be like, wait, no, this is the time to get them and just ride them for 2 months.
Right. Yeah.
And then Wolves.
Fucking there.
Wolves are the ultimate disaster.
They're a disaster.
Complete shambles.
Okay, let's that was hour on defense. Okay. Well, let's go to mids.
And
so
keepers.
What's our bracket here? And keepers.
6'5" and under. There's no players in the game 6'5" and under. So, dude, how are we even gonna do this?
Oh, come on. Check.
We just have to like pick some, I guess, that we want to talk about and just ignore majority.
Yeah, I don't think we can do what we just did on defense with this. I think we need to just bounce around. Let's just bounce around.
We just bounce around. Yeah.
You go. You start. Your turn.
Eze has been in my team.
Yeah.
He's a post-mortem guy that I was like, he's the guy out of all your guys that you kind of chose for your like glue section. I was like, he's the guy I want. Yeah. He has 10 goals in him. He has more in him now. He's on pens. Wolf is gone. He's donging every game.
Did you see that goal he scored the other day?
He's fucking unreal, dude. He's the main man. He's their best goal scorer. He's on pens.
Yeah. I mean, this could be just an enormous, like, okay, he's going to Liverpool or something.
Yeah, no, he could score so many goals. So many goals. So he's been in my team. I love him. I want him. He's great.
Okay. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, I started re-listening to Postmortem recently, and I was only like 25 minutes in or something. That. Yeah, because I was just trying to go back of like, take my own advice.
Absolutely.
Listen to myself, and then let the chips fall around the edges of like the lessons that I learned. And yeah, he's back in my team. He's been in and out, just it's really based on if I'm having Mo or not. It seems to be the big thing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the fixtures are a little bit iffy. Depends on how you squint and look at them, for us from an attack. But
tell your own story.
Yeah. I mean, look, you have to have patience with him. You can't jump on and off. I know we talked about like he had all his goals in home bankers last year, and we're not going to score more than 2 goals in games really, generally, but especially while Elise's out and he's going to be on all the set pieces and his delivery is so good. That I think is a big feather in his cap initially. And, I mean, Sheffield United's a good fixture. I think at Brentford's like fine. Wolves, Villa, Fulham. They're not that bad is what I'm saying. And
yeah, I would say they're middle of the table. I mean, they have a few good and a few, Arsenal's just bad, and then a couple kind of bad. Like away Brenham, away Villa are certainly not good.
Yeah, they're not good, but they're not, at City, whatever kind of status.
I think the hardest thing for me with Palace, and he's been in my team, so obviously I'm not like that concerned with this, but like whatever the fuck Roy did with them at the end of last season when they're just scoring 5 goals and like taking 30 shots, like we probably should just like forget that because that's not how Roy Hodgson manages teams.
100%. 100%.
So that's probably like just recency bias coloring me a little bit, and the fact that he's scoring like literally every game in preseason just looks incredible. But I mean, he's still just 6'5", and he just scored 159 points, and now he has pens, and he's young and good. It just, there's so many boxes that he ticks.
Yeah. I mean, there are negatives too, right? Like you're saying, we're not a free scoring team, and we won't pretend to be. We did catch teams at the right beach, and all that stuff. And, other teams will very quickly latch on to, well, if we just foul him, like he's like Saka, if we just keep fouling him, then he's not going to hurt us. And, we'll see what happens. We'll see how that transpires. He might just be limping around every game, all game, and then we'll just transfer him out. But there is so much growth and potential for him to just improve upon last year now that he's fully fit, main man. Yeah. So, I mean, I think, him and Bumo is, I think, the direct competitor in that 6'5" spot.
Yeah, let's go to Brentham.
I mean, Eze is 10x the quality of player of Bumo. Like, Bumo's just fast. Like, he's just fast. he fucking can't finish his dinner, and he has shown us that for tens of thousands of minutes. Even sort of, he had one good flampening year basically, but we watch him play and he aims for the post, hits the post. That's what he does.
Yeah.
I mean, he has pens, and I mean, I also feel like it's not like Brenham or some, chance creation monster team. I mean, they're going to be playing on the counter a lot also with 2 attackers. So, just because Brenham finished a few places higher than us last year,
better
doesn't mean
team,
that
not necessarily better attack.
Better FPL attack, I mean, I feel like this, I mean, there's just, I mean, I'm obviously extremely biased. Bumo has hurt me so many times. And I minus aided for the whole Palace midfield last year, and it was glorious. Eze is incredible. I mean, he's just such an incredible player.
He's so good.
Like, comparing him to Bumo, it just feels a little bit naughty. The one thing though is that's frustrating is, like, we're doing this pod game week 1 as the player in totality. The fixtures for Brenham are just so good. So
what are they again? Read them.
Home Spurs, at Fulham, home Palace, home Bournemouth, at Newcastle, home Everton, at NFO. So
yeah,
it could be one of those where it's like, Eze's better player, prefer him as a pick, and I'm not starting with him because the fixtures are worse.
Yeah, the thing that the dude said at the beginning, right? I agree with you, blah, 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 but Brenham have these fixtures, so, fuck off. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you, though. I mean, I think Bumo, when it first came out and he's on pens, he's obviously good IRL and does a lot of useful things, but, like, his value in FPL is just... He is a frustrating player. I mean, he's really
frustrating.
Yeah, he flatters to deceive a bit. He fucks up all the time.
Dude, do you remember the first year? How many fucking times he fucked his life away with Tony on these, like, fucking insane chances?
He went 5.5 under his XG in his first season.
Insane.
He had 8.5 non-penalty XG and scored 3 non-penalty goals.
Yeah. It's just... and this
that's bad.
That's with him, is like,
but he also gets a lot of assists. Yeah. And does a lot of other good things. It's just really frustrating. Really frustrating player. Yeah. Really, and I agree with you. I mean, I think that we're probably a little bit overrating Brentham's attack because Brentham are a good team. And, like, those two things don't necessarily go hand in hand for FPL.
Yeah, and we also don't know what they look like without Tony for an extended period of time.
Right.
We're taking this small sample size last year.
Yeah.
It was like those last few games when everyone's beached and they were playing like fucking lay down dogs.
Yeah, like how many of his assists are to Tony?
Yeah, that too.
Like probably a fucking ton of them, probably like 60% of them or something. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, as far as Brenham goes, I mean, I just like Wissa more because I'm like, he's better.
He's better.
He's further forward. He's the donger. Yeah. And he's cheaper.
Yeah, but we're not comparing that. We're comparing.
I know. I'm just talking about the player. But yeah, no, I'm kind of with you. As far as fixtures, who has the better fixtures? I mean, I think it's a...
No, I think it's Brenham. Come on.
It is Brenham, but I don't think it's like a complete landslide. It is. If you look at the first four, it is a landslide because Palace are at Brenham, and that's obviously way worse. And they have the home Arsenal.
They have Arsenal,
Yeah.
I mean, and look, Bumo is certainly a good pick. Like he checks a lot of boxes. He's a fine pick. Question. It's just we're not having him for the rest of the season. You know, you have these good fixtures coming up. It's just he's just not a goal scorer. I mean, he scores by mistake to me, and you can tell. You know, look, XG. He finished under 2 years ago, whatever, like last year about even.
Yeah.
If next year, you know, okay, well, he's getting the XG, so it just, you know, he just has to come up. That's nice from a statistical standpoint, and broadly speaking, I think that's a fair thing to say.
Yeah.
But you have to watch the player and believe that that's in him. I would be floored, absolutely, completely stunned if Buma has a 15-goal season. in the Premier League. Like, I just can't imagine that happens unless he gets 7 pens or something.
No, I was about to say, like, that depends on pens. But what you're saying is, like, non-penalty goals. Yeah, it's hard to imagine him really exceeding where he's been at in the, 3 to 8 range.
Yeah,
which is
and
his
7
first 2
and 9
seasons.
assists are high. I mean, they are really good on set pieces. They have a lot of good routines, and he does put
and
a
he's
good delivery.
good at them.
Yeah, and he does get, counter-attacking assists and shit. And he had 18 returns last year. But, I mean, I think
of his
that,
shots that are bad end up being tap-in rebounds, probably.
Yeah, a fantasy assist. I mean, to me, though, last year was his ceiling. Like, I don't imagine him doing better than that ever. 18 returns. With or without Tony, I don't care.
Pens changes it, though. Pens changes it.
Well, I mean, it does. But, I mean, what? Tony's out for what? Till
half the season.
Yeah, so sure, they spike them for that. You give them 4 or 5 goals there, okay. But at the same time, they're Bournemouth, they get 0, okay. Okay, it's a couple. You'll get a couple goals. Are you going to hold him for fucking 3 months? Like, I don't know. You watch him play.
Yeah, when are the pens coming?
Yeah. Good pick. I don't know. I've had a really hard time putting him in and keeping him in my team. I just don't think he's very good. I think he's a good IRL player in terms of what a team like Brentford trying to do with countering and his pace and his delivery and stuff. But for FPL, I don't see much growth with him, and I don't know.
Yeah, you and LR loosely talked about that idea of seeing good things, and therefore that translates to their good FPL picks, and I just don't really agree that that's true. Oftentimes it is. There's a lot of good things you see that directly translate to them being good FPL picks, but there's some guys that do a lot of really cool things that just don't really translate to points. And I just agree with you in the sense that I don't think, I don't know how to word this. Maybe this is a question for Kaylee or some shit, but you're taking Tony out of the team. Right, so you're taking shots out of the team, you're taking chances out of the team, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that just trickles down to other players.
Yeah, they keep repeating the same things, and Bumo gets all those numbers.
Yeah, I don't think Bumo's just going to get a shot extra a game now because there's quote unquote more shots available. Maybe he'll get a little bit more touches, but it's probably kind of insignificant. Basically what I'm trying to say is I don't really think his goal involvement will actually change in open play. I just think the big X factor is pens, which we've talked about on every pod, and it's the fucking worst part of the game, and I fucking hate pens, but he might get 5 in the first half of the season, and then he's the best pick in the game, and he's a fucking god. And he might get 0, and then you're just like, what am I doing with this guy?
Why have I held him for this long?
Why have I held him? Yeah, Wissa is the goal scorer, and I should have had him the whole time. What the fuck?
And that is, that is interesting. Think about if Bumo didn't have pens, then what? He's just a bad pick.
He'd be in 0% of teams.
Yeah,
0%.
He'd be in 0. If Wissa was on pens, Wissa would be in 30% of teams. Bumo would be in 4% of teams.
Yep.
I mean, it's inflating it too much because I think his open play ability for FPL points is enough lower than just adding the pens. Isn't I want him on my team. I don't know.
Right. But then you have the shout on the LR pod, right? Of what if I just had a team of 7 pen takers?
Yeah, which is what I have right now in my draft I'm looking at. Hello, I'm back. But
Adam's back. Just thought experimenting his life away. But Bumo versus Eze, it's interesting. I have Eze right now. I don't have Bumo.
Yeah, same. So what about Mitoma over there? He's 6'5", Luton, Wolves, Western. What do we got there?
Yeah, so everyone's in our Discord is asking about Mitoma versus Marsh. There's fucking Enciso. There's Grob. I mean, they have so many fucking guys.
Lallana.
Someone even shouted Lallana. I'm like, okay, I don't know what we're doing here. Yeah, I mean, Mitoma is really good at football. I think that he gets a bad rep for not getting a quantity of shots, but his XG is really good. He gets good shots. Which, when I was listening to you and LR and you were kind of he's not that good, blah, blah, blah. I was thinking he's deceptive the other way, because I think a lot of people watch him and are like, oh, he's just fucking Saint Max. He just happens to play on Brighton, so he's like looks better because Brighton are good.
No,
he's just he's a fucking Adama, but like he just beats everyone on the dribble. But like he legit gets consistent good chances. I mean, he's like top 20 in XG per 90. Like that's not a fucking coincidence. That's a repeatable skill that he's good at. Yeah, and I mean, again, like you mentioned again on the LR pod, like it's one of those where it's like, is 30% of the goals in this team who scores more goals better, or is 50% of goals in this team who scores less goals better?
Yeah, like Palace Matoma.
Yeah, that will never be solved, right? Like there is no the right answer is sometimes that guy and sometimes the other guy, probably based on fixtures, right?
Yeah,
the right answer have fucking incredible fixtures. So
for a couple of games,
Yeah, for a few games there. And then they have home Newcastle at Man United before they have home Bournemouth again, right? And I still do look at this as a team who's like, yeah, they're going to fucking eat these teams alive. Like watching them in person again, I'm just like, for 45 minutes with the starters, I mean, they just fucking made a mockery of the team that finished third place, Home Luton, home West Ham, at Wolves, home Bournemouth, 4 of those out of the first 6. It's hard to not go there. That said, like not my current tinker because there's so many other good mids.
Yeah.
But I get it. Good pick, good player, good pick, good team, good fixtures. Like tick every box, but there's only fucking room for 5 of them. So
yeah, a lot of players there. I mean, there's just a lot of players. There's going to be rotation.
So many players.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like for the first couple games, he is the safest, in air quotes, safest pick.
For sure.
If you just want a Brighton player, he does have the ability to come in with 30 points in the first 3 games. No one would be surprised by that. Good pick.
I think smart money, like I'm trying to do well, blah, blah, blah. Like you should have him in your team. I really do think that. Like he's 37% owned. So you're taking a massive risk there. And his first 3 pictures are home Luton, at Wolves, home West Ham. Before Europe, before any of this shit, he's fucking nailed. They're fucking good. Good pick.
Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of where I'm at. And I wouldn't go for any other Brighton player.
Yeah, I mean, March is having a weird preseason.
He's
Gross is playing fucking right back, so that's
Gross is right back,
else.
even though he's probably on pens. It's like, what the fuck are we doing?
We still don't even... Do we know that? We don't know that.
No, but he used to take him, right? So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he's like senior there now somehow. He's... Time flies when you're...
What do you think about... Yeah. What do you think about Diaby, the new guy on Villa? It's kind of interesting.
Never seen him play, but like all of his numbers are outstanding. Like he seems like he's right on. He's the exact type of player Liverpool would about 5 years ago, and just been like, "Oh, you're fucking Mane now." Like he just pops in XG, pops in shots, pops in everything, scoring every game in preseason. Looks great.
Teach him how to press.
Yeah, exactly. Looks great. I mean, he's just a better version of Bailey, is what it seems like to me, which is like kind of funny. They're like giving up on Bailey, but he's just an absolute like classic inverted winger who's cutting in on his left foot and shooting.
Yeah, I mean, Bailey is just too lightweight.
He had his like breakout year last year. I mean, he started getting an extra shot a game. His XG went up 0.1, which is a fucking ton per 90. And I mean, he seems good too.
Yeah,
there's so many good picks.
They have a lot of games too, so they'll all get their game time.
Yeah, and comparing like all of these guys, I mean, I think Villa would have probably the worst fixtures of these guys.
Yeah,
with the 2 of their first 4 being at Newcastle, at Liverpool is really tough.
Yeah, but those are good potential counterattacking fixtures. I mean, Diaby is pace
definitely
for days.
Liverpool is. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, Diaby's interesting because he's just kind of like transferred over late. Like, was it an expensive signing? But I mean, he could score 20 goals in the league. At some point in his career, like in the next 4 or 5 years. Like he has that ability, I think.
You know what's funny is when you look at his FBref similar players, listen to this top 10.
Yeah.
Mo, Malen, Sterling, Adeyemi, Vinicius, Ferran, Martinelli, Sane, Leao, and Son.
Is that good? None of those are
guys.
I mean, there's
good?
Diaby and Sterling are the outliers for price in FPL.
Yeah, what's Malen in Fantasy Champions League? He's probably kind of high. I don't know.
Probably.
But yeah, I mean, he's a fucking donger. He could be a real pick.
Yeah, maybe one just to keep a really close eye on.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's like dreamland with him is that he looks great, doesn't do any of the end product, and we're like,
time.
Game week 5 when they start their run or something, or game week. I don't know. I don't think he's an insane pick to start with, is what I'm saying. I think is what I'm trying to say.
The beauty of the pricing this season is that there are dozens of guys that I don't think are insane picks.
Yeah.
I really don't. Like, we're going to see, we're doing our first Rate My Team stream on Friday. Like, we're going to see some picks in there. Oh, well, we're going to see some bad picks, but we're also going to see some picks that we haven't even like talked about. Yeah. And we're just going to be like, good pick. Yeah. I mean, totally safe, good pick, right? But it is nice when you buy, Villa buy this guy, great numbers, great comps, all that shit comes in, and I think he just donged in his first 2 games, each of them.
Yeah, I mean, he's just really fucking fast, and he's playing next to Ollie, and Ollie, as we know too from him, he's incredible at assisting. I mean, his hold up, his weighted passes, like the countering, that looks like a partnership that could really flourish.
Yeah, and they
have so much creativity in midfield. I mean,
I was about to say the same thing.
In.
Like, if anything, they were kind of like shot and goals light, right? But they had everything else. They have the build up, they have the ball progression, they have the pace, they have the crossing, they have the passing, but they really didn't have that many shots or that many goals in the team. And then they just go get this guy whose literal only job in the world is like be there wide when we're building up, and then cut inside and be in the box and score goals.
Yeah, pretty
good.
It's pretty good.
Where should we go for there?
I don't know. I mean, we're still kind of looking around these budget midfield options. Is there anything?
There's like Harvey Barnes. What do you think about that?
One for later.
We've always kind of liked him, but
one for later, I think.
Because of the fixtures or because something else?
Yeah, I think the fixtures are just too bad that he's not going to pip any of these other guys we've touched on so far.
Right.
I mean, I also do worry for him a little bit because he's never been the most clinical player. And
that's generous.
Part of why he was so attractive at Leicester from an FPL standpoint is just the volume, because all they did was sort of attack against bad teams, and that's sort of all Newcastle don't do. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how Newcastle just play this year, if they have any changes.
I think the optimist take on Harvey is just that, like, to me at least, he's such an Eddie Howe player. Like, he's such a, like, Eddie magically gets this like Ryan Fraser season out of him where he just has like crazy numbers, but like,
it's possible.
Who knows? It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, we like him. I like him. I still really like the player.
He never really got better. That's like the thing with him.
It's almost like he wasn't coached when he was there.
Yeah, exactly. Almost like Brogdoned him, but he was so good when he was so young, and then he just stayed the same.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, one guy who I can't seem to quit and get out of my team is another post-mortem guy.
Is it Gibbs White?
GW? Yeah.
The fixtures though, right? Or are you rotating him? I mean, they're at Arsenal, home Sheffield, at Man United, at Chelsea, home Burnley, at City. I mean, how? Unless you're rotating with a 4-5 defender, which I don't think is bad.
I still think that they can counter. And, I mean, they're not good fixtures, but, maybe, who knows when they get a pen. I just feel like he's underpriced. Yeah. I mean, we could say that about a lot of players, but,
he might be a guy you get later, but...
Yeah, that's but like with
hard
Pens,
on Game Week 1.
I believe in him. I fluctuated. I mean, I remember having him as a 4 or 5 midfielder when he was at Wolves before he got transferred to the Flamp. So I have a history with Mr. Gibbs White over here.
Yeah.
But he's the kind of player that I just watched kind of blossom last year, where he was like had a lot of early season performance. So I'm just like, what are you doing? And Cooper obviously is obsessed with him. He's one of like the only players who played whenever he was fit every game. Like him and Brennan were the only players who just played sight unseen. If they're fit, they play.
Even at the end of the season, Brennan wasn't in every lineup, I feel like.
Yeah. And, I just feel like Gibbs White's got a lot more in his game. And I don't believe that the 12 assists is very repeatable. I think, it's tough to hit 12 assists on a team that's fucking as shitty as NFO. But I don't know. I like him. He's one of my guys. I just like him. I just like him.
No, I don't think you should like ignore that at all. I just think that realistically, you just want to rotate this guy. Just pair him with Tarkowski and start Tarko home Fulham, MGW home Sheffield, Tarko home Wolves, Tarko at Sheffield, and then MGW home Burnley. Like something like that. I think it's very reasonable, especially in a season where everyone's kind of underpriced and we have extra budget. I just don't think it's startable in those away games against the top 7 or 8 teams where they're just going to get completely fucking railed. It's like Taiwo trying to win a header against 2 center backs, flick on to MGW, has to beat both fullbacks in a foot race and scores 1 shot. It's like,
I'm basically just I need like multiple pens, and that's not a good bet to make. Probably.
Not a good bet to make when they don't touch the ball Arsenal, in the box.
Yeah, at Arsenal, at United, at Chelsea, at City, 4 of the first 6 is bad.
It's not ideal.
I just like them. I like them. Yeah, maybe it's one I need to just. I need to just wait. I need to wait, probably.
I mean, the good thing about when they have those kind of fixtures is there's not that many top 7 teams left afterwards, right?
Yeah,
so it's like you just get them out of the way and then bring them in and see what's up.
Yeah. For sure.
There's probably other guys, but like, I don't fucking know, man.
Okay. Well, let's go to forwards.
Anyone else you're like...
Not really. I mean, I think, like Holgbaum's 5.5 with pens should be interesting, assuming Mitro goes.
Mudryk, fucking...
Yeah, Mudryk 6.5. We have to wait and see if he plays. We don't know that.
Yeah.
I think, who was the other 5?
There's no 4-5, right? That's kind of an interesting, weird thing. I mean, Elliot Anderson, maybe.
Yeah, but Nakamba. I think Nakamba got a move, so he should be playing, but he's a strict DM.
1 to 2 points every game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely...
There's no good 4-5 that's like, this is first on my bench guy.
Yeah. And then, I mean, Clivert is we were talking about who's going to be started. Who's going to be the Rodrigo hope of the season, and he's my pick for that player.
I've been on him since our first preseason pod. I think.
No, you turned me on to him, and I started doing more looking into him, and I talked myself into him with the new manager, like the system. He looks like
pressing,
that kind of
countering.
Yeah, he looks like the kind of guy that could just pop up with 12 goals this year out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So 5 million there. He's someone to note.
Yep. Love him. Love it.
And then, Dele Alli, 5 million in. Always
He's in the game still? Wow.
Yeah, it's 5 million in. It's coming back. It's his year. It's his year.
That's weird. Lerma, maybe. No, who knows? Yeah, All right, let's go forwards.
Okay. What are we doing this bracket?
6'5" and under.
Yeah. All right. So what are we looking at? Start with Alvarez.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of questions about Alvarez. Kev is fit, right? So that like myth, I think, is over. But
he's fit, but he at the same time hasn't played a minute. So how fit is he?
He's fit. Well, no, I think he played one of the preseason games or something.
I don't think he's gotten. I think it's been literal 0 minutes. He's just been on the bench along with like 20 other players.
Yeah, you're right. 0 minutes.
Yeah.
And they only have one more preseason game. Which is they have a preseason game. Shouldn't they have Community Shield?
That's next weekend.
Yeah, they have one preseason. Oh yeah, the Community Shield is against Arsenal. Yeah, that's their last game. So I guess we'll see. But I don't know. Yeah, he's played every preseason game. He's donging. He's assisting. We know what he's like when he starts. Alvarez. He gets returns. I don't know, man. Are you there? I'm not there, but maybe I'm just misreading it.
No, I'm not there either. I still just see them, even though they look short on numbers.
Yeah.
it's still like, they low key have all these games. Like they have a pile up immediately. I don't love that.
Yeah, I mean, when I got him last year, I think everything just went perfectly. Oh God, my alarm's went off. When I got him last year, I think everything just like happened to go perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect injury, perfect, league situation with Arsenal losing their games.
Yeah.
Perfect, all this shit. And it just doesn't feel like that to me, game week 1. I mean, it doesn't feel like these weird lineups and Alvarez is in starting every game all of a sudden out of nowhere. And they're probably going to still buy a fucking winger. I mean, they have unlimited money. They're short. Yeah. They sold Mars.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think we're missing something here? Are people like in Discord having him?
It's, not like overwhelmingly so, but he's definitely in teams.
He's in some teams. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they still play 2 promoted teams and Fulham and then NFO. Yeah. Like they still have insane fixtures. So, but
so
it
you're
is
just
back
trying to get
Pep Roulette.
A couple starts or whatever.
Yeah. It's still just Pep Roulette. I don't know. I mean, I haven't been near him, but
what if I told you he starts 2 of the first 4?
No. Still no. That's a no for me, dog.
I mean, it's not that dissimilar to how we were talking about like Jota, Foden, right? Like,
I don't think he's good enough though.
If he starts 2 out of the first 4 and with those fixtures.
But what if one of them's Newcastle?
I doubt it, but it's possible.
Well, I think it would be really weird if he didn't start 2 of the first 4. I expect that.
If you expect that, I think there's a really good case to be made that like you just put him in. He has double-digit potential in the games he starts. He has goal potentials in the games where he subs on.
Yeah.
And just deal with it later.
Yeah, maybe. That's possible. That's possible. I mean there's also just the other
that level last year to me.
Yeah. I mean, there's the other world where I don't want to like say this too loudly, but he could just be the right winger.
True.
Right? I mean, like Bilv was doing a good job there last year, but he's not. You know what you're getting with him, like pressing, elite recycling, keeping the ball, but ultimately, Alvarez might be his spot. And put Bilv in midfield, Foden left.
Where's he been playing preseason? I'm so like fucking out of it. This is the week where I go in. Yeah, they've barely played.
They've only played like 2 games, so it's been really weird shit. Yeah, they've been doing really weird shit. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could just be also one of those where at 6'5", like, yeah, he's really cheap. I mean, Foden 7'5".
That's what I'm saying.
7'5's cheap, but it's not really cheap. I mean, we both, I think, believe in the player a lot more with Foden than Alvarez.
I love Foden. Yeah.
I mean, he shows us, 20, the per 90, like when he plays, he gets so many points. And Alvarez is still, I think a little bit jury out on that because he did have a couple really, really easy games where he hauled last year at the very end of the season when other teams were on the beach and Haaland wasn't playing and a lot of things were going right for him. But at 6'5", it's fucking cheap. I mean,
points per start, Man City last season, number 1, Haaland, number 2, Ortega, obviously. Number 3, Kev, number 4, Alvarez. 6.2 points per start last season.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's 13 games. It's not like he started 5 and
no, spiked. I know it's not. Yeah, it's not some ridiculous little small sample size, but yeah, I mean, definitely interesting. I think someone I've sort of tried to just be avoidant of because I know like the amount of potential pain that could be caused and inflicted, and I just don't want to. From game week 1, literally, it's August. And I'm like panicking,
hating the game by late August.
Yeah, like Pep Roulette. Like I don't want that much.
It's interesting when you compare him to like some of the 6'5" mids we were just talking about, right? Like compare him to Eze, right? Like I fucking love Eze. Eze is amazing. Yeah. He's nailed 90 every one of these games. But like Alvarez could outscore him first 4.
Oh yeah, easily.
Like that world very, very much exists.
Even if he only played
he has
200
no ceiling.
minutes.
Alvarez could fucking hat trick in one of those games and everyone would be like, yeah, he's good. He's just fucking good.
Absolutely.
So definitely something to consider, I think.
Yeah. I agree.
It's so fucking nothing triggers me more than seeing, the first game of the first game week of the new season is Burnley Man City, leaks. Everyone's going to be fucking jerking into leakers. Alvarez in. Everyone's going to bring in Alvarez, rip up their team. Fuck off, dude.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming. It's nailed on.
So looking up and down from the 6-5, I mean, Wissa, so I kind of cut you off earlier. You were going to wax lyrical about Wissa, so here's the floor.
I just really rate him. I haven't seen him that much, and sometimes he went last season, he was playing a bit of wing, the same as the season before, but like when he plays in the middle, I was just cashing gambling checks of anytime goal scorer. I mean, when he plays striker, he's a fucking donger. Like, he gets shots, he gets good chances, he scores goals, he seems to be a good finisher from what we know. I mean, first season he had 7 goals in 1,200 minutes. Last season he had 7 goals in 1,600 minutes. He's going to start seemingly every game. The only other forward they have is a barely ever played 20-year-old. I mean, at 6 million, he's cheaper than some fucking relegation candidate teams, and we're talking about a mid-table team that functions very well, and he's the tip of the spear. And I'm just like, yeah, that's a fucking good player, right? I mean, I feel like even if you just think about it conceptually as Brentham as a really well-run good team, I mean, when they bought him as a 23-year-old, they were probably thinking, yeah, we're probably selling Tony in the next couple of years, and this guy's going to be our next forward. And that's not exactly how it went down, because Tony sold himself. But I feel like this is sort of working how they planned for it to work, and that's why he's already there. And they didn't have to buy someone new this year, and he's already bedded in.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I think he's just a great pick. You know, I mean, he's good fixtures. And unlike Bumo, I actually rate him and believe in him. You know, he doesn't have pens, but he looks good. You know, I mean, 6 million's definitely a good price. And he gets the big good chances. You know what I mean? He's good. He's good.
And listen, points per start is not some like perfect metric that we should base everything on, but number 1 was Tony. Number 2 was Wissa.
Yeah.
It's not like, fucking rocket science. It's like, this is the position in the team that gets the good chances and scores the goals.
Yep.
And he was number 1 the year before that in points per start, above Tony.
I mean, we did the scouting on him. We're just all he does is fucking catch up and sprint and run and get into those positions.
Yep. He's back to goal. He lays it off to someone, sprints. He's in the box, getting a tap in. Boom. So, and he can create his own shots too. I mean, I just think he's really good, and it's actually just absurd to me that they made him 6. I mean, a lot of the prices are weird, but we knew Tony was banned for half the year, so they're giving a nailed-on starting forward on that mid-table team 6 million is just absolutely absurd.
And he's still only 3.8%, so maybe it was spot on.
Which is, I mean, that is dreamland for me. Like that nails him more in my team. I'm just being like, oh wow.
Are you like, you're definitely in on Wissa? Like he's going to be there come when the lights are on?
No, but he's been in like pretty much every tinker, I would say.
Okay. So are you doing just 2 up top, or are you switching formation over there?
I've done like mostly 3-5-2s, I think, but I don't think 3 up top is bad. I really don't. It's just that there's more midfielders. Yeah. So I think
more options.
Yeah, more options. Yeah. So having more guys there makes sense, sort of.
Yeah. If you're wrong, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're wrong on Wissa, it's potentially a really big deal.
Yeah, right. There's not that many guys.
Right. Yeah. Right. So what about DCL? I mean, our already injured old hero DCL.
If he starts, I back him.
Yeah.
That's
the thing
basically
with,
all I'm at. Yeah.
I mean, he started a lot of games last year, and we watched him play, and it's like, oh wow, you're fucking terrible. I mean, I'm not there. If he starts, I back him. I mean, he's already not fit, and it's not like he's the player that we've historically seen. He doesn't need minutes to get up to speed. Like, he comes back from these injuries and he's fucking dog shit for a long time. I mean, that's what
I thought
he
ended the season really well, though.
Yeah, but after he played all these games to get fit, right? So he's already right now, it's like they have 1 or 2 games left and he hasn't played a second. So, what kind of momentum and match fitness does he have going into game week 1?
It's not ideal.
It's not good.
Yeah. It's hard to get there. I mean, he might just be like physically done as a player. I don't really know.
He needs to go to a fucking farmer's league, dude. That's
he needs young blood transfusion.
He needs cheese, some cheese shit from Felix Magath. He needs horse placenta. Thing. He needs everything. He needs special attention.
He needs fucking like magic at this point. Try it.
What else are we looking at here? So we got
there's some guys. There's like Taiwo 6'5".
That's one for later probably. What about the Brighton guys? Too much rotation.
Yeah, I mean they're weirdly highly owned. Well, not high, but like Ferguson's 9% owned, 9.9. That to me, that's
pretty high.
I mean, Welbeck should start every other game probably.
Yeah.
Pedro, I just don't think is a pick at all right now. I mean, he's very far from nailed. He's like playing with the backups to the backups, subbing on super late in these preseason games. So yeah, I don't like it. Even though I do really like Ferguson. Like I think he has everything. At this point, he's still just rotating with Welbs, and he's like 18, so whatever.
Yeah.
There's Dom.
Yeah, he's one. I mean, their fixtures are also rough, right?
Yeah, Bournemouth have rough fixtures. There's Morris, right? Luton.
Yeah, Morris.
Blanking 2. He's 5'5". I mean, I don't know.
I think that the 5 million spot's a little bit interesting. I mean, Vinicius, I think they bought Jimenez to be a backup.
Is Mitro here we go gone?
It's still not here we go, but he's here we go not playing with them at all. He's not with the team.
Here we go, not going to work here anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance that he comes back, I suppose. I don't think, let's just say he's here we go to Al Ittihad, whatever the fuck.
That is bad.
It's bad, whatever. I don't know the names. They're all the same. It's Saudi
I also
Arabia.
don't know the names.
They're all the same names. It's Al something, like whatever.
Yeah.
Ifak,
you can
Ittihad,
call me Al.
Whatever. He's still not like good enough to start in FPL, but I think he's interesting to play with as a shield, or just as a bench option. And you can go more risky, like with the Jota or a Foden kind of a team where like you just have Vinicius there, I don't know.
I think
that.
I like that.
Because it's only 0.5 more, and he's still like a striker, so.
Yeah, I mean, he's
even
starting
in good fixtures,
striker on a not terrible attacking team, right?
Yeah,
so,
I mean, even in good fixtures, I'm not like, oh yeah, he's to start him. He's great. You could, I guess, you could, but if he's just on the bench indefinitely, and he ever had to come off, you're not going to be. You'll be happy about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with you on Jim. I mean, I think Jim is like mostly washed. I think he's a backup. Yeah. And Vinny ended the season really well. He actually had some really good games.
Yeah, he did.
I think gave them a lot of confidence. So, I mean, I like that. I mean, having a starting striker that's 5-0, second cheapest price in the fucking game for an attacker is very rare territory. And very useful.
We're approaching Brewster territory on that.
Oh my God, we're approaching nailed in my team territory.
Don't get me started on that. But I mean, there is also a shout where, I don't know how far you could stretch it, where you start him every week.
Yep.
He's 5 million striker. I mean,
the question is why? Like, what are you getting? And I don't know the answer.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, it could be like.
Yeah.
Mo Holland, big defense or something.
Yeah, right. You just get all of the most expensive players.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's, worth it.
Mo
or not,
Holland, double Arsenal, double Man United, right? Like no cheap mids or something like that,
maybe that's something. Yeah, maybe that's something that it gets you and you're like, okay, this isn't a big enough sacrifice at this spot for me to not like all of this other shit it buys me.
Yeah.
Or it is, but it's something to play around with, I think. And
it's
there's
definitely
also
something to play around with. There's Neil too.
More seriously, there is the draft man over at Wolves, Kalazajach.
Oh my God, I forgot he exists.
Never forget. I mean, they did not pay like $5 for him. He was fucking expensive. I think he was like 20 something.
And he played 45 minutes and then ripped his fucking kneecap off. Yeah, what a nightmare.
I mean, I think we still have the Balogun question, which may or may not be answered by the time the game.
May or may not break the game. Yeah.
Yeah, by the time the season starts. But if anything, Kalazajach, however, his name is insane.
Just call him Sasa.
Sasas. He gives you some backup plan. If Vinicius, like, you watch him these first 3 games, you're like, oh my God, he took 1 shot. Like, Fulham are the worst team in the league, which is possible. That is possible. Fulham could be the worst team in the league this year. Wouldn't be surprised.
Not at all.
I don't know. Just ideas. We're just chatting FPL.
There's usually nothing here, so it's worth talking about it when there is something here. I think is basically
going over hold Broge, 5 million. Mateta,
I was looking at Broge, praying that he's been like playing preseason games and he has 0 minutes.
He's still not.
Yeah,
fit.
Potts is like, you're not interested.
Yeah, not ready yet. Yeah, I don't know. So there's a lot of, not a lot, but there are a few cheeky picks back here.
Yep. Yeah. Worth playing with for sure. A lot of guys on this episode, man.
Yeah.
What
are you looking at your team wise? Let's wrap up quick with this little. I want to hear about it.
Well, I don't really have like full team screenshotted around here. Let me see if I actually do have a screenshot.
Where are you at with Mo? Are you leaning in or out?
I think Mo is like very close to being nailed in my team, honestly.
Oh, whoa, bro. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like these, at least 1 or 2 of the guys mentioned on this episode enough that I'm willing to be like, not going to have this 8 to 9 million guy. Instead, I'm going to have this 6'5" guy, right? Like Wissa's one of them. Eze is one of them. A lot of these 4-5 defenders I like. I like the rotation, all that stuff. I think it's enough to be like, okay, all of this, good. And then plus Mo and Holland, like, I feel great. I just feel really safe with Mo. I mean, we've talked about Mo a lot. I don't think there's even that much more to say. But I mean, again, it's the worst season of his career and he gets 239 points. There's no one like him in the game. There's no other mid in the game that has that. Beautiful. And I just feel very safe with that.
So cuddle.
Yeah, exactly. It's the safety. I mean, Rashford, good pick. Bruno, good pick. Saka, good pick. None of them have this.
Yeah.
Let's not
best pick in the game.
Sugarcoat it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, something like that. 4-5 mids, Flecken. The rest of most of the guys. I think
I can fill blanks in.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I had a no Mo, and I'm back. I'm back to kind of, I think, massaging and warming into Mo and starting to kind of play around with the edges around there. So, I mean, it's feeling a little bit more consolidated with like Holland, Watkins, Mo. That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of your budget. That's a lot of your like starting budget. Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely have a couple of tweaks, like 0.5 up, 0.5 down. Like, I mean, Matto, don't know. Yeah, there's some picks in there. Foden, don't know. Defense, not sure. Because I think that's going to be my latest call is like, do I want to have the double city defense draft or the no city defense draft?
Yeah, and how many of these high ceiling risky guys?
Yeah.
0 to 4 of them, right? It's like, I could have none of them easily, and I could have Foden, Alvarez, Jota also very easily.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. I still do like the 3-5-2 though.
Yeah, I think 3-5-2 makes the most sense with the scarcity of forward picks. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're getting somewhere. So I'm doing a fireside this week. We're doing a Rate My Team live stream on Friday for Patreon fuckers. We're doing another pod Monday. Another like group fireside next week. Thursday, Panic Stations episode. Friday, fucking Game Week 1. Unbelievable. So close.
Yeah, we got it all.
And then I'm moving on fucking the Tuesday after that. Oh my God, kill myself.
No one's interested in that besides you.
Yeah, definitely not. Let me slap asses. We got new signups, new Patreon subscribers. Magistorino, Ross Watson, Jordan Henry, Scott McKee, Cian Dowling, Thomas Wiener, and Arabic FPL. Fuck in there, baby. Slap the ass. Oh, brother. We're banging them out this preseason, man.
Yeah, that's the preseason pod's done, man.
The preview's done. Now the perversity begins.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like when in the last like few weeks, like I try to think more about all the players rather than like who am I actually going to put in my team. Now I can kind of like tunnel vision.
I mean, the only thing about these like 2-hour preseason episodes is that I wish they were like articles, because I'm like, 3 days from now when I'm like looking for a midfielder, when I'm fucking tinkering on the toilet, I'm not going to remember like, oh yeah, an hour and a half into the mid-price pod, Walsh had this idea. I'm just going to forget everything. I'm just literally going to forget everything we talked about. And I'm just like, oh, this trap. That looks nice. Yeah.
And, Kluivert, 5 million. Vinicius, 5 million.
I actually don't need any Arsenal. I have 4-6-5 minutes. This team's incredible. Just like,
I have Kane, Mo, and Haaland because I can get Kluivert and Vinicius. Like, we're good.
And they're just as good as Martinelli and Saka. It's fine.
This is fine, dog.
Everything's fine. This is fine.
Yeah.
All right, bro.
Dude. See you
Any
tomorrow.
last words? Change it tomorrow. Check us out at FMLFPL.com. Follow us on Twitter at FMLFPL. Support us at Patreon.com/FMLFPL. Subscribe, rate, review,